Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. ICN families, I hope you are all doing well. I hope you had your suhoor and you pray your salat al-fajr. And, it's always good after, especially after prayer, to have some sort of reminder. It acts as a reference point. So, throughout the day, whatever you're doing, you know that, once you finish your daily routine, you got to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do, whatever your Ramadan schedule is, you continue with the Ramadan schedule, whether it's reading Quran, whether it's ibadah, whether it's just, studying the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whatever it may be. So inshallah, today I'd like to share a few words, and especially in this time of difficulty and this type of confusion. There's a wonderful book called La Tahzan, Don't Be Sad, from Dr. Aid al-Qarni. And in it's a book, you can say it an Islamic motivational book. It's a book that helps uplift the spirit. It's a very wonderful book. And I wanted to share some of the passages from that book. In the very beginning, he brings a section that says, Ya Allah, oh Allah. Now this book is available in both English and in Arabic. So you can look for it and you can buy it yourself as well. So in this book, he begins off with saying, Ya Allah, oh Allah. And the very first verse that he brings, right, it's a verse in Surah Rahman. And in this verse, right, he's saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, A'udhu minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. يَسْأَلُهُ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ. Whoever is within the heavens and the earth asks him, which means ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ. Every day he brings about a matter. Now this verse sets up as a context, right? It acts to set up the scene. What's happening is that you have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, who is Allah? You look at the world around you, and every single day, right? Every single day things are changing. Every moment, from second to second, from moment to moment, things are constantly changing on this earth, right? Some people, they live, some children, they come into the world, a baby is born, and then some people also, they leave this world, right? They pass away. And you also see some people with good fortune, and some people suddenly lose everything that they have. So there's a constant evolving, changing of this world. From one place, sometimes you'll see a rise, maybe empires, countries will rise, and sometimes empires and countries will fall. And so just within mankind, within our social, structure, within our own lives, there's a constant change. Every single day, there's a constant change. In your own health, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It'll be good for a long time, and then suddenly something will happen and it'll go. And look at the situation we're in. A month ago, none of us would have imagined that something like this would have happened, that we would not have the month of Ramadan. Yes, we heard about the virus and everything, but it was an afterthought. It's like in the back of your mind. But in reality, nobody would ever have imagined that we'd be basically in our own homes. Usually, this is the reminder I give after Salat al-Fajr. After we pray, we sit down and we give a little talk. But I'm giving it here in my own home. So there's the constant change, and then you look at the natural world around you too, right? The different animals, the insects, all these different things that are around us in this world, in this dunya, constantly changing. Some are coming. The viruses, this virus that we're in, it's also constantly changing. It's also constantly moving. It's evolving, right? This is a virus that the reason why it's called COVID-19, because it's something new. No one had really seen it before. So, you look at the cosmos in the earth, you look in the stars, and you'll see that it's so much movement, so much changes. How you look at the speed at which the earth is rotating and going around the sun, there's constant motion. Nothing is ever stagnant in this dunya. You look outside, you look into the skies, and you look at the sky, and then suddenly it'll just disappear. For millions of years, there may have been a star burning, and just like that, within a snap of a finger, it's gone. Either it turns into a black hole or it disappears or whatever happens to them. So, everything from your own life to the people to the people around you, right? Your family, your friends, your acquaintances, to the city that you're living in, the country that you're living in, the world that we live in, constantly changing, right? In any given second or moment, there are millions and millions of changes happening, billions, probably even more than that, in any given second, right? If you were to see what kind of changes are happening around the world, literally millions of changes are happening just in this world. We're not even talking about the cosmos. We're not even talking about the universe, the galaxy. Like what's happening out there in space is something else. In fact, much of it is beyond our comprehension. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is doing all of this. Yet, when you get in trouble, who do you call on to? You call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who's the first one that you saw, right? And then the Dr. Adil, he brings some example. He's like, when there's a violent or turbulent storm, right? Or the seas are churning. Let's just say there's some people out in the sea. Suddenly there's a storm that comes, the wind is blowing, the waves are crashing into the boat. Who do those people call? Who do they make dua to? They call, oh Allah, right? They call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Say, Ya Allah. Right? And that's it's a very powerful image that he's kind of leaving us with, right? That, and then the next example, إذا ظل الحادي في الصحراء, where you have a person who's riding his camel and then he gets lost in the middle of this vast open desert. I mean, just if you were to contemporize it and put it within our own time, imagine you're in a plane and the plane is going, and then all of a sudden you hear a lot of turbulence. I mean, or you feel, sorry, a lot of turbulence. I remember one time we were going for Umrah a couple of years back, and we were going in Saudi Airlines. Now, for the vast majority of the time, they had, and as you know, if you travel Saudi Airlines, there's a little musalla they have in the back. People come back and forth. Then we suddenly hit a long patch of turbulence. And you can see people are visibly shaking. It was kind of unusual. I mean, I've flown a countless amount of times, and you have turbulence, but this was unusually a lot of turbulence, and you kind of feel it. I believe me, after that, as soon as it calmed down a little bit, that musalla area was full. It was jam packed. I mean, everybody was praying. Why? Because when you're in your time of fear, you're scared. Who are you going to call? You're going to call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So that's a time that you call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or maybe you're driving somewhere and you're literally in the middle of nowhere. You have no idea where you are. There's no cell phone reception. For the vast majority of us, people who may have either grown up after grown up after the whole MapQuest era. Those people who grew up before the whole GPS or map, we kind of understand, okay, you go from, you'll know the direction somewhat, and you can figure yourself out. But for a lot of people, they don't know, man. That's that phone, if that reception goes, that GPS link is gone, man, they're in trouble. So imagine in the middle of nowhere, you have no reception, you don't know how to get out of where you are. That's a very scary, especially if you're in the middle of the desert. That's certain death. No idea which direction to go to. There's no water. There's no life nowhere. I mean, just animals around, sand, heat, a lot, and that heat is just going to make you more dehydrated, and eventually it's going to lead to your death and your demise. So that's a very scary situation, and that's what he's trying to bring about. Imagine the most scariest situation that you can be in, right? Because when you're in those type of situation, either there's a violent storm coming, maybe you're lost in the middle of nowhere, or some other calamity befalls you, some other hardship befalls you. What's the first thing that you say? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? Right? You raise your hands and you say, Ya Allah. Right? You pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You pray with all the sincerity and devotion that you have. You have all these plans, and one after the other. It happens a lot. There's another example that he's giving, that you have all these plans in place, and every step that you take, a door is closed. You take another step and a door closes. And you get so frustrated that, you had all these hopes and aspirations, and every time you take a step, the doors keep closing on you. It's as if, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell you, this is bad for you, but that's not really the case. And in those types of situations where everything that you do keeps on ending in failure, What do? You raise your hand to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all the good words, the sincere du'as, the tears of the innocent people, the invocation of the afflicted, those people who have been harmed,